Welcome back to Global War 1939. We just finished up round four. It's about to start the next turn for each country. And I would say at this point in the battle, there's no distinct advantage for one side or the other. It's probably going to come down to a couple key battles to determine the fate of the world. So before we get started, I just want to give you a quick update of the economics of the game. So on the Axis side, Italy is sitting at 30, Japan is now at 80, and Germany is at 66. For the Allies, we have China at 8, Australian is at 9, FEC is at 17, the UK is at 36, Russia is at 46. And the Americans, they were at like 57, 56, and they ended up rolling for their industry 22, putting them at 79. So they'll, regardless, they're going to be joining the war on the Ally side. So for the Germans, they did go ahead and start their invasion into Russia. They took out the Baltic states, East Poland, Western Ukraine, and they dropped in a paratrooper down here. It does give them $2 for that turn, and it does force units away from the front line. So money-wise, the Germans will only gain the $2 because it's just not going to be here after this turn. However, the more important thing, it does take away units from the main defense. So sitting in Western Ukraine, currently we have 17 medium tanks, 4 Mark IVs, 3 heavy artillery, 8 artillery, 4 SS mechanized, 8 regular mechanized, 4 SS infantry, about 17 regular infantry, and a paratrooper. So they're going to wait a turn. They're not going to advance. They'll probably take out Kiev, but they're going to wait for this follow-up force. So it'll add 4 more mechanized, 2 more Mark IVs, 3 more tanks, and a handful of more infantry. And then the defense of Lower Russia is the bulk of their forces in Olarkursk. And we do have 4 infantry in Kiev and a small follow-up force from Stalingrad. But what the Russians are working with, they have vastly more infantry. They have about 35 infantry, heavy artillery, 6 regular artillery, 2 rockets mechanized, 3 KV-2s, 3 medium tanks, a light tank, and 4 elite guards. So they definitely outnumber the Germans in infantry class units. However, the Germans definitely have more firepower in armored. So we'll see how these match up. The Russians went ahead and sent that force from Helsinki up north, getting ready to attack going up into attack in Norway to get rid of that $5 bonus from Germany. So the Germans definitely have to utilize those transports. They do have some material here in Western Germany that they can send up and try to dispatch this. Leningrad has a smaller defensive force. The Germans are about 2 turns away from really making an effective push into Leningrad. So they do have some breathing room. And so they got 2 light tanks, medium tank, handful of infantry, bit of their air force, and 2 artillery. So nothing like too crazy compared to Lower Russia, but still you need to send in quite a few units to take that out. For the Italians, they're on the march. They're going to try to fulfill their objective of taking out Cairo. And if that's the only thing they do in this game, take out Cairo, Lower Egypt, then the Germans will be happy with their ally. They're going to also go ahead and try to activate Iraq. So we'll see how that all goes. The defense for Cairo right now is 2 paratroopers, handful of infantry, a light tank. They do have a medium tank here as well. Air, 1 fighter, and 3 commandos. And they do have a handful of infantry to follow up into that. So we'll see how all that goes. FEC, the Japanese did go ahead and vacate this territory. They had about, I believe, about a dozen infantry, a couple artillery. And the Japanese did see an opening to almost wipe out the Chinese. Not quite, but they took all their territories as worth more than just $1. So they took this force here, swung up, took out the Chinese main base, and there's a couple follow-up battles here. Japan did take out this Chinese territory. So that just left China with this strip right here of about a dozen infantry. They have their Air Force got taken out in a previous battle, and their artillery in this battle. So they just had infantry. All 12 came in as a counterattack. They did win that battle, losing about 4 infantry in the process. So that does give Japan a little more breathing room because there's nothing on the front lines now. So more likely these 3 territories will be gone, just leaving China with this. Now for the FEC, they are planning on taking out Siam, so the Japanese do need to react. They'll be able to one more turn before it comes around to the British, so they need to do reinforce this. Where the Americans are at 79, they will be attacking Guam and the Philippines, activating the Japanese bonus. So they'll take this out. The Japanese were able to remove this Anzac fleet. They are left with only a current cruiser, which is in the process of trying to free up this convoy box. So that's his mission, as 1 cruiser is definitely not doing anything to this. So the Australians, for the next couple of turns, they're going to wait for this fleet to move off and rebuild their fleet from scratch to try to help the Allies take out some of these islands. So we'll see. But if the Japanese just camp steer this fleet here, there's not really much they can do unless they wait 3 or 4 turns to save up money to drop an instant fleet. But I don't know how realistic that is. Now the Japanese did go ahead and build their first Armado battleship. So this is the makings of their second fleet. Definitely a lot more to go here. What I would like before they engage the Americans is at least 3 battleships, 3 carriers with planes, and about a dozen destroyers, a dozen submarines. Use the subs and destroyers to take the damage as their capital ships throw out the damage against the Americans. So, as you can tell, there's going to be another few turns before they're able to accomplish that. And the Americans went ahead and did get themselves a couple more cruisers on the last turn. So this is a pretty healthy fleet. I'm not sure if it's strong enough yet to go after the Japanese main fleet. I'm pretty sure it is. They're matching very well for capital ships. They're about the same. It's all the support vessels. They're about the same too. The Americans do have more cruisers. The destroyers and subs are about the same. And the British went ahead and landed in Brodor. So the Germans need to react to this. This needs to go because this territory for the UK is only worth $1. However, it's worth 6 for the Germans. So they definitely don't want to leave 2 infantry off the table every round. So they need a response to this. So the follow-up, what can reach there now? Not really a lot. 3 light tanks, an artillery, and about half a dozen infantry. So we'll see. And their air force is way too far away. So their bombers, the medium bombers can make it, so they'll probably have to utilize those. But all the fighters and tacticals are way too far away. We'll see. Canada went ahead and did their standard purchase of a light tank and a transport. So they're just going to do that continuously until they get about a dozen transports, which they're almost there. They got about 9. These destroyers broke off from the main British fleet, and what their job is to hunt down this German cruiser and a couple subs that were really trapped in the mid-Atlantic area after round 1, and so they've been trying to figure out a way to meet up with their main force, but there's just no way they can get past it without getting hit by the German or by the British, right? So they're just going to, their job now is to take out these convoy boxes and let the British come to them. We'll see how it goes. Or they could go for a mad run, come all the way up into the Mediterranean. But in order for that to succeed, to save those ships, the Italians have to take out Cairo. So we'll see how, because right now this is trapped off to the Axis. They can only leave the Mediterranean through this axis point here. So we'll see how all that goes. But this needs to go. They're going to wait. The Germans are going to wait one more turn, let all this catch up, and then they're going to strike and then strike. We'll see. All right, that is it for the rundown of turn 4, and we're about to start turn 5. All right, have a great day.